You enjoy. I'm going to go rustle something up. I don't know if I'm going to eat one of the snowballs sitting here on the counter or make myself a PB&J. More than likely make the PB&J.
Why don't you make the PB&J and put a snowball on it? All right, everybody, welcome out to the Log Room. It is Tuesday, January 26, 2021. Jersey Johnny coming at you. And as always, with me is Mr. Beer Samurai. Say hello, Mr. Samurai.
Hey, guys. Happy, what is it, Peanut Brittle Day? It's
Peanut Brittle National Day. Peanut Brittle Day. Yeah, look at that.
And no offense to you peanut butter and peanut brittle enthusiasts out there, but there's a more important day to me, more closer to my heart. It's my little sister's birthday.
Hey, happy birthday, Sarah.
So, and I wanted to bring this up, and my sister's a nurse. She's been through this whole pandemic. Actually, caught COVID during it.
Early on, too, right?
Yeah, really early on. Fought through it. She was in quite a bit of pain during it, she said. And as soon as she was ready to go back to work, she went back to work. As a matter of fact, that was my birthday gift this past year. First text I got was her telling me she had tested positive. So
yes, I remember that.
Yeah, so the fact that she recovered from it, went right back to work to fight it. I can't say enough about the nurses herself and her fellow nurses that have been through this, and have fought the monster, as my sister has put it many times. It's brutal. There's so many times I got texts from her that she was just barely hanging on.
Well,
so
we put it up on the crawl right there. Thanks to all the nurses and frontline healthcare workers out there. Thank you so much. And I know it might sound like it's about 9 months too late for us to say that, but it's never too late to say that. So.
And I just thought it'd be appropriate to also give that nod on my sister's birthday.
On her birthday, absolutely. Let's say it again. Happy birthday, Sarah.
Happy birthday, sis. Love you.
Hey, question for you. Have you talked to her a lot lately?
On and off, yeah.
Because that's a whole different kind of pain for her.
Right.
You know how to say that.
Hey, how about we bring the guest on?
Why don't we bring our guest on? Today's guest comes to us from Rhode Island. It's none other than the brewmaster of Crooked Current Brewing, Nichole Pelletier. Am I saying that right, Nichole?
That is correct. Perfect pronunciation.
I tried.
Nice. And it's a brewmaster and owner, correct?
Yes, co-owner.
Brewmaster, co-owner, and brewmaster, yes.
Yeah, don't demote her.
I didn't. Well, I wanted to point out the fact that she makes the beer. That was the.
Yeah, she makes the beer.
So.
Yes. Oh. Yep. And happy birthday, Sarah. By the way, I want to, I would like to just tip my glass as well in her honor. Happy birthday today, and thank you so much. I cannot even begin to imagine what it has been like. Oh, and then catching it. I have actually one of my good customers. She's also a nurse. She caught it and was pregnant at the same time. Back to work, same thing. Some of the stories that you hear, I mean, it's just,
it's insane. And not to stop you, Dave, but we have a comment I just want to throw up there really quick. Sarah says thank you.
Wondering if you get out on time.
There you go.
And you can see, if you can keep that up there for a second, you can see her Facebook profile picture. It's one of my favorite images that came out of it.
Flipping off the virus. I love that. Yep. That picture is definitely one that stuck out to me. I'll always remember that particular one when I saw it come through on my Facebook feed too.
So powerful. I think the worst part for the nurses that caught it is being in the ICU and watching how that thing killed and knowing they didn't want that, and, not, because to them, almost everybody that came in went that route. They didn't realize how many recovered because they were the ICU nurses. They didn't see those who recovered and walked out of the hospital. Yeah. So it made it even more powerful for them and even scarier for them because of what they had seen. So, it was an emotional ride, texting with her every day through it. So I'm going to open my beer and stop talking about this before I get too emotional about it.
Let's
I opened mine a little early, and I'm sorry, but
let's throw it up there. Let's throw Nicole's up there.
Nicole's up there.
Nicole's drinking a Crooked Current Brewing White Stout, a 6% white stout, of course, from Pawtucket, Rhode Island.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Snowy Pawtucket, Rhode Island.
Snowy
That's
Pawtucket,
true.
Rhode Island at the moment.
Yeah.
Yes.
Shout out to the DOT road crews, guys. Great job. Oof. 146.
Were they not prepared? Hey, you know
They
what?
never are.
You know what? Let me tell you something. It could have been a lot worse. Do you remember what happened in New Jersey in November 2018?
Did it snow, John?
It snowed, yeah. It snowed about 8 or 9 inches, but it like shut the state down, and New York City too, and upstate.
Which is
Shut
rare
it
because
down.
usually New Jersey's pretty well prepared.
It took me, and I'm not kidding you, it took me almost 9 hours to drive what normally would take an hour and a half.
Oh my
Yep.
goodness.
Oh, I remember that one.
Yep.
That's brutal.
And mine was,
Absolutely brutal.
and my timing was a little bit better than most people. So it was crazy.
And it's not even just, that amount of time driving is in and of itself, forget about it, but it's the white knuckle kind of driving too.
Sure.
It's not even like a luxurious long, like, oh, I'm going to drive the Florida Keys or whatever the case, like a luxurious, easy. No, it's white knuckle stress when
Exactly.
you're on the road like that. You don't know who's paying attention, who's going to slide into you. Oh, it's definitely a brutal one, but I
Hey,
suppose-
John. Oh, I'm
Yes.
sorry. I've got another lava lamp.
You got a lava lamp. Look at that. I love those lava lamps. Good stuff.
Yeah,
Good
that's-
chunkage.
Oh, I love the chunk.
It's all good though. It's all.
I rolled the can
all,
too.
It's good. It's all good. See that maybe it's because you rolled the can. If you didn't roll the can, it would stay on the bottom, and you wouldn't have
You
gotten any.
told me to roll the can.
No. You need that flavor, please. Come on, drink it. Enjoy it. It's tasty. All right. So what is it that you're drinking there, Mr. Samurai?
This is something I picked up over the weekend. This really creepy guy with a beard and a baseball cap gave it to me. He was wearing a Brewery shirt. Peaches and cream from the Source. So John drinks the Source almost every damn show. And we did have the Sources.
It's 8 miles from my house.
Yes. We had the owner on last week.
Yeah.
And so I drink a lot of Smug on the show because that's 4 blocks from where I live.
Right.
So we have to shame Rob into coming on the show because Glenn's been on, Greg's been on. So I decided I'd drink a Source on the show and switch it up today. And since John will be drinking a Rhode Island beer, I drink the Source, and this is a peaches and cream milkshake IPA.
Take a sip. Let us know what you think. Hey, come on, one sip. Everybody knows the rules.
That's yummy. Okay, we'll be done with this one soon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At any rate, yeah, geez. Oh, that is so good.
Right.
Peaches, cream,
lava lamp,
and chunk.
and chunk. It's all good. It's all good.
I'll be chewing my way through the rest of it.
Exactly. All right. Myself, though, I'm going to switch it up, and I'm going to have a beer from Rhode Island. Actually, I'm going to have 2 beers from Rhode Island. The first one I'm going to start with an IPA. I'm going to start with 4.8 anniversary from Long Live.
Yes.
So I'm going to start with a 9% double IPA. So that should make things fun later on in the show. But we'll get through it. It'll be good. All right. Let's see if I can list pour the hell out of this. Hold on one second. Silence over there.
That's hysterical. I can't believe it moved all the way to New Jersey.
What, the list pour?
I've spread it.
Oh,
How do you
said
think it got to New Jersey?
Oh, although I think her brother does live down there.
Yes, as a matter of fact, your brother takes Liz to the Source all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And if you follow her on Facebook, she brings a lot of it home when she goes down.
Mm-hmm.
She's got to take the cursory untapped pic with you guys in the background. Hold on.
Oh yeah, we got it. Can I take a picture of you taking the picture?
Please do. There we go. All right.
Oh well, I didn't see you. Your camera wasn't up, so I'm doing it this way.
Oh, that is tasty.
Yeah, they do a nice job down there.
That is tasty. That's a good beer. Cheers, guys. Cheers.
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 Dave,
Happy
well,
birthday,
cheers.
sis.
Happy birthday, sis. Dave sis, that is. And by the way, she did comment again. She said, couldn't get through without my bros. Love you. And just for everybody out there, she's not talking about me and Dave. She's talking about Dave and his brother Brian, who was on the show a few weeks ago.
Live from his house on location.
There you go. Anyway, so that's my beer. So anyway, Nichole, why don't you tell us a little bit about Crooked Current? Why don't we start with? Well, you know what? I should question. You have a culinary background, don't you?
I don't have a formal culinary background, but I do have a background. My family, more so than me, has culinary background. So
Gotcha.
it's
So you grew up
more of a
in the
passion.
culinary arts to
I
some
did. I
extent.
grew up around it a lot.
Sure.
I practiced it very informally, but certainly
good.
practiced lots of culinary things with my family, who were professionally trained. So I got a lot of my culinary passion from them. But just in general, I mean, good food and good drink. Who doesn't love that?
Right.
I suppose it kind of warped a little bit, when I got older. Obviously, the older you get, and you get a job, you get to, buy your own things, and that actually is kind of what developed my taste, I suppose, for beer in general. So my mother has always been a beer girl. We won't even discuss what her go-to beer is because it's just shameful. But that was what was
every family has one.
Yeah, that was what I was always sneaking into my
There's
my
nothing
bag
wrong with
and going
Treehouse.
out.
I mean, I know you're talking about. Yeah.
So, but I mean, beer was
Nice.
the drink of choice in my house. So that's what I grew up around.
Sure.
I mean, even at a young age too, my grandfather and I, who are, were best friends, he would always, when he was a fisherman, so he was a big Budweiser guy. So when he would come in from fishing, he would crack open a Bud, and I would get one too.
Sure,
So
why not?
I had a sip or two just to be part of the gang and
Sure.
the guys, my grandfather and his fishing buddies. So anyway, beer in general has always been what I grew up around mostly. So, I mean, when I turned 21, the very first thing that I bought is my own mix of six down at Wakefield Liquors because I grew up in Narragansett. So I was not at the mercy of having to steal whatever stuff was in the refrigerator at my house.
Gotcha.
And I got to, pick off of the gigantic wall of all different craft beers. And, that was just a few years ago, but it's come a long way since then. But that really was one of the things. I mean, my mom and we used to, when I was in college and before I went to New York to finish college, I was living at home. And she would cook and I would bring home the beer on Friday nights and we'd have a feast. And so I tried to get her more into, the craft side of beer because I know that she's a beer girl, so I wanted to kind of expand her palate at the same time. So I do that every Friday night, my mom and I. And then I moved away to go to school, got a degree in criminal justice, came back to Rhode Island in 2009. That was when the stock market took a huge nosedive and kind of crashed. So finding work after college was a little tough, but I did find a job. I managed. And while I was there, I met Jason, who is the co-owner at Crooked Current. He and I met each other at work. So the two of us, this, that, the other leads to, we move in together. One Saturday, we were bored, so we decided, well, I came up with the idea, I should say, because it was something I'd always wanted to kind of do. Mm-hmm. I said, hey, right down the street at the hardware store, they sell these beer brewing kits, and we have nothing else to do. Let's just go buy that. I think it'd be a lot of fun. And he knew the whole background, culinary, like he already knew that I had a little bit of an inclination for that kind of creative, I suppose, foodie type thing. He was living with me at the time. We were living together and everything. So we bought a brew kit. We brewed beer. The first batch that I ever brewed, I bottled it before we went away on a weekend in Vermont. And I was living in an apartment. We were living in an apartment where it was kind of like heat was all included. So I must have forgot to turn the heat down.
See this coming.
Yeah. So I just thought that was kind of a fun story. The first batch I ever brewed, there were a few bottles that, let's just say they exploded. So 3 days
I thought you were
later,
going to say there was a few bottles left out of all the bottles you
Oh gosh, no. Well, so bottling it in order to let it sit there for the 2 weeks in bottle condition, for home brewers who might be listening to this, or if you guys have ever home brewed.
Yep.
Yeah, so you
So you didn't put it in a carboy, you just went straight to...
Sorry, I forgot. I totally skipped over the part where I did brew it and then bottle it. It was...
all the steps in between.
Yeah.
Once it was done, you bottled it just to let it sit. Right.
But we had gone away. I mean, it takes like 2 weeks or whatever, so it was a pretty short time after. So I skipped over that. I'm sorry. Yes, it was fermented and everything. But when I came home from the weekend, I went to just kind of move the box out of the way, and it was stuck, and I couldn't quite figure out why. It took me a minute, and I realized after I opened the box that there was a bunch of shattered glass. So that was fun. But, the trials and tribulations of learning the process. And,
oh, sure.
But it was fun. I mean, the beer came out great. It was delicious. So it was so with those brew kits, they literally are super generic. It'll say California Common or Amber Ale or October, so I think it was a California Common. It was just a very basic beer. And I picked that just because I figured I would try to start with, the easiest
something
thing, I suppose.
Common, right?
Yeah. I mean, I was not interested in jumping into brewing beer for any other reason other than curiosity. I wasn't, some people, they're so infatuated, let's just say, with like a particular style or a particular brewery. And so they'll get into it because they'll say, oh, gee, I really wish that I could brew something that tastes like XYZ. And that's for some people. Literally for me, it was curiosity. And the process is really what piqued my interest the most.
Gotcha.
I mean, the process of how does this work and could I really even do it, and how can I make it my own? That's what it spiraled into. So it spiraled into how could I make it my own as opposed to like chasing for something that I was trying to achieve in particular. It was open-ended. I just figured I'm interested in the process. I'm passionate about the product, and how can I make my product different actually, or stand out from things that I can get already that I love. I mean, I loved beer. I loved craft beer. You know what I mean? So all of those things, it's not like I was trying to get into it to try to do what they were doing. I was genuinely curious about the process and how I could do my own thing that I couldn't just go buy in the store, because why would I go through all that trouble just to make something that tastes so similar to something I could just go buy easily enough. Yeah.
So how did that bridge over then into deciding to open the brewery?
Yeah. So that was, I would say probably 2012 that was. Okay. So 2012, I mean, there really wasn't, the economy really hadn't bounced back all that much. I couldn't figure if I wanted to go back to school. I decided I didn't. So one day, just frustrated with corporate America in general, AKA just getting ragged on by your boss all the time. Even when you have, right? I know. Yeah. Even when you have a great work ethic, they still find something to bitch about, right? Sure. I don't even know if I'm allowed to say that.
Well, at work, I'm the boss at work, so.
Well, now
and he bitches at himself more than he bitches at anybody else. So
probably. Well, except for you.
Except for me.
You know what? You're not wrong about that. Think about it. Everybody's their own worst critic, and of course, if you're only accountable to yourself, you gotta be hard on yourself if you want to get it done.
Pretty much.
Now I want to ask. You said you went for criminal justice, correct?
Yes. Yep.
Did that lead into the name of the brewery?
I know, and it's so funny you should ask that. I have had that same question asked to me. Because quite a few people, they
put that together even when she said that.
Yeah. Well, because of so the name lends itself to seem like it would be, some criminality to it. And to be honest with you, it really, it doesn't, I guess subliminally in a way.
Well, look at this nefarious character on the label there, right?
I'm so glad that you have that. I literally just took the recycling out because recycling's tomorrow.
Oh, I have that. I also I also got the growler out. The growler's out too. Yeah.
Okay,
Well,
so
I have a
actually,
smaller
yeah,
one on
no,
my
if you
can.
look
There you
at
go.
that, so right, what's
Right.
cool about the logo, and I really love about the logo, is that it is kind of it's kind of abstract. So what that logo is a pictorial representation of is crooked, which does lend itself directly to, I mean, in not that political corruption or criminality or any of that
No,
is unique to Rhode
no,
Island, but
no, no. The mayor of Providence was never crooked.
yeah, I know,
The
right?
old, never.
And so it's
Former. You were saying.
kind of
Former, yeah,
poking fun. Current has a little bit of a duality in meaning. Um,
right.
it's the ocean state,
Mm-hmm.
so there's that.
And you got
And
the wave built into this.
exactly. So I actually um, love the way that. So I'm getting closer because I'm getting closer to my screen here, looking at you holding it up. It's
We'll
just so
put it a
funny
little
that I'm
closer.
not the one holding
There
it
you
up.
go.
I'm so glad you're more prepared. Oh my god. So it's a side profile of the crook in
Hmm.
Crooked Current.
There you go.
And he's got the Ocean State wave going through the bottom of his jacket, which is on the license plate
Yep.
in Rhode Island. It's this just this little wave. And it's a pictorial representation of the kind of checkered political history that Rhode Island is pretty well known for.
There
I
you go.
mean, again, not that it's unique to Rhode Island, but when we were trying to think of a name and
We're
a
from
logo,
Jersey. We know, yeah.
I know it's so funny. Rhode Island, all politics are local politics too. There's only one area code, and it's very unique. It really is unique because you turn on the news, and this way, when you have conversations with anybody from any part of the state, everybody knows who you're referring to, and you say, the mayor of Providence and things along those lines, because that's all anybody hears on
Yeah,
any
well,
of their local segments. Whereas, like in other states that are big that have multiple area codes, which is pretty much every state, I think, except Rhode Island, right? I don't think anybody else. I think there's at least
Washington D.C. only has one, but it's not really. I mean, they consider
Yeah,
it an
and
area or
technically,
whatever.
right.
But yeah,
and
but
Delaware, the second smallest, has two.
they have two. Yeah, New Jersey.
like,
I mean, when Dave and I were growing up, we only had 2,
Hmm.
and now there's I think 10.
Is it up to 10 now?
I think it's 10. It might even be more. I think it's at least 10. Yeah.
at times
But,
they change. But yeah, we wanted to think of something that had not been done before. Again, it was kind of indicative of my brew style as well. Something that hadn't been done before, something unique. In Rhode Island, it's the Ocean State. Just about every single business has, either a lighthouse or an anchor or a wave
Anchor,
or something
yep.
to do with
The anchor's on the
Ocean
flag.
State.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, seriously, all the logos are kind of generic and all the same. So I really love the fact that our logo is abstract because it does initiate a conversation. When people come into the brewery, we have a full mural on the wall of the logo. So, and the whole wall is set against that teal that you see. That's kind of the predominant color on
We'll put it back up there so
the
people can-
growler and on the cans. So it definitely calls attention. And so it's a lot of fun when people will come in during non-COVID times and have tastings and beer pours, and they'll ask the question, and they'll usually try to guess it amongst themselves first before they ask the answer, just because they find it intriguing and fun. I'm just so glad that people appreciate that logo as much as I do, because I did not design it, but I am a huge fan of the logo itself. I really am.
I look at that character in the logo and I hear Bugs Bunny saying, Finster, oh, Finster, baby. Not sure if you know what I'm talking about, but I know Dave does.
Yes, I do. Now, speaking of the tap room, who were we talking to a while back ago about who has the smallest tap room in Rhode Island? And I said,
I think that would be you, Dave.
Yeah, it might be me. It's sitting back. Well, it's not even hooked up right now. But I was thinking Crooked Current has to be one of the smallest, if not the smallest, tap rooms in Rhode Island.
It's true. And I think you're absolutely right. I don't believe. I mean, it's hard to say because some of the other tap rooms are kind of small too. And to be honest, I mean, there's been quite a few that have opened that I haven't been able to visit yet, so I can't even speak to the ones I mean, I feel like
I've been to the mall. I've been to the mall. They're bigger.
Even the new
They are
guys,
bigger.
everybody, yeah.
Yeah, I've
Okay.
been down.
Well, even
Monitor is bigger.
Foolproof though. Foolproof has got a small tap room considering the size of their facility.
Foolproof's tap room is tiny compared to the size of the building. Yeah.
Yeah, but the thing is, the tap room is mostly taken over by the bar area. It's actually a large space, but there's not a lot of space to sit.
Yeah, there's a ton of space behind the bar there.
Yeah.
It's great. Sometimes, when I first saw it, I was like, it's more space behind the bar than there is in front of the bar.
Yeah, but, I mean, I don't know. I mean, we are definitely the smallest, but I have to say, since this pandemic began, because, I think this year we're going to be 7 years. And because we were 2014 and we're in 2021. So, yeah, we'll be 7 in October, officially October. But I'm glad that, especially during this pandemic, we never kind of felt the pressure that we were getting, especially from customers to expand. Because, that would have presented a whole other set of challenges that I would not have wanted to endure during this pandemic. Did
you have that outdoor seating area years before the pandemic, or is that okay?
Yeah, we have just a teeny tiny little seating area right outside our front door. And I mean, there's probably room for 10 people to sit there intimately. I mean, close, and you're probably going to be real buddy with whoever you're sitting next to, because you're probably going to be thigh to thigh.
Not as close as you are in the tap room.
I know. And in the tap room, it gets intimate too. I mean, it's going to be really interesting. I don't know. I mean, because our whole model really has been built around just that experience.
Actually, you're not the smallest.
Really?
I think Beer on Earth is smaller.
They do have a tiny space. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, they actually might be smaller now that I think about it.
You're almost like pretty much right around the corner from Foolproof too, right?
Yeah. I mean, Tom Brady could probably throw a football to their
from one to the other
property. Really, I mean, yeah.
If he wasn't down in Tampa right now.
You know what's amazing? There are other quarterbacks that could do it too, but of course you had to say Tom Brady.
Of course.
That's why I had to counter with Tampa.
So
a shame you're not drinking that Traderade I gave you right now, right?
I haven't tried that one. Rob does a great job though with his sours. I'm a big fan of all his sour stuff, so I imagine I would probably like that.
Yeah, it's key lime.
But I just love the way he does his sours. Whatever his technique is, I really enjoy them.
A lot of them are kettled. I don't know if that one was kettled.
That's probably why. Why.
So.
Yeah.
So you brought him up earlier. In the tap room, there is a little stand, and you brought up Jay. He wrote a book, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So he did. He wrote a book. My business partner, my partner in life, my author, my real estate, entrepreneur. He's like a jack of all trades. He really is. So he's also the regulatory side of Crooked Karn. So he gets to deal with all the.
Oh, so you have all the fun, and he takes care of all the paperwork.
He takes care of everything
else.
else.
So much fun when things, break and go wrong. It's a great time to have nobody to turn to, an adult to your adult, as the saying goes, and be like, "Can you help me fix this?" It's a blast.
So
no, I mean, I do love what I do, but it is funny. They say that there's that old adage. Do what you love and you'll never work a day in your life.
Absolutely.
And
that is so wrong.
I absolutely
No, it's not. It's totally true.
Don't despise it. I think it's bull. No way, man. You should be working just as hard on day one as day 20,000. I mean, and if you're not working as hard and not for nothing too, but if it's not challenging, it's not going to probably be very fun.
It can be challenging and not be work if you're loving what you're doing.
I feel like if I was sitting on a beach eating
that
would be very
well, it's a different story. If you could find a job doing that, I mean, that'd be awesome. But no, to me that's
hey, that's influencing. You could influence on the beach with bonbons.
Right. To me that statement means as long as if you're sitting there and you're hating and dreading the work you're doing, that's work. If you're enjoying the hell out of what you're doing, it's not work. And you could be working hard, you could be sweating, you could be doing all of those things, but enjoying it, so it's not work. So that's how I take that. I look at it like that. But I see what you mean, though.
I know
there's hard days and there's easy days, and there's fun days and there's not so fun days.
the things you're supposed to take away from that statement are positive things. But what I have always thought was, gee, that's really demeaning in a way, because that's kind of taken away. Just because I enjoy what I do, I don't work as hard as anybody who hates what they do. I don't think so. I think I work harder. And so I've always thought that way. I'm like, I don't, just because I don't dread going in, I work damn hard.
John,
don't take that away from me.
John, I don't know about you, but I've got taking care of business running through my head right now.
Pretty much.
That's
playing over here.
It's always a hustle. It's always a hustle. Exactly. You got to always be hustling. Work just as hard on day one, and day one's always, who doesn't dread a day one?
So let's get
the first time I brewed a beer. It was quite an experience. I mean, on my actual system.
On your system, not just at home, right?
And it's not that big of a system.
We set the fire alarms off. It was 1:00 in the morning. It was because we were working the brew house? 2 jobs. It was definitely one of those days that I'm like, not looking forward to tomorrow. Just kind of wanted to get over that brew day. Gotcha. It was we were working both jobs at the time, and
that's always fun.
The mill that we're in, it's also like people live there. It's
even better.
That's what I'm trying to say. It's like lofts. So when we were there, we didn't get out of work until 2:00. So you go in. You got to get the water heated up and all that. Anyway, I got a stuck mash because the first beer I decided I wanted to brew was like one of the most difficult beers. And if you don't brew it right, exactly what happens to me happens. So the steam set the fire alarm off. It was it was in the winter. It was cold. The steam, I didn't realize, would set the alarms off. So it was about 1:00 in the morning, and the Pawtucket Fire Department was, and in those mills, those fire alarms are no joke. They are
no.
loud.
That's fun.
And I felt so bad. Oh gosh, that was a brutal day.
So what are your plans going forward? Short range plans for the brewery? Just is there an expansion coming? Or are you going to stick with what you're doing? Or
I mean, for us right now, we're definitely going to stick right where we are for the time being. And again, I can't say, how thankful we are that we are where we are now, because I know that it wasn't necessarily COVID, but there are other places that, even pandemic aside, or, it's a booming industry, and people have to invest a lot of money, obviously. And if people are not out and about spending it, it's very hard to obviously operate. So the larger your facility, the more difficult it is. So I don't want to complain at all. We've been all right. And almost 7 years of a following, I'm very thankful for as well. Because I sure as heck, my heart does go out to some of these new guys that opened in the last year. And even some of the older guys who had expanded right before everything happened as well.
Or in the middle of their expansion right now.
Yeah. So for us, we're sticking right where we are, at least for the time being. We are really happy to be in Pawtucket, honestly. We really enjoy being in Pawtucket quite a bit. It's nice having the camaraderie that we do with the other Pawtucket breweries, but in general, Rhode Island is such it's a really warm place. The personality of the typical Rhode Islander, and just the brewing community. I don't know any miserable brewers, you know what I mean? And that's the thing. We work so hard. One of my colleagues.
I know one or two, but they're not.
Yeah, I'd say John and I. If you saw John and I roll our eyes, it's because we went through the catalog of brewers in New Jersey and went, there are some miserable ones in Jersey.
That's too bad. I'm sorry to hear that. My goodness. Because it's definitely a labor of love, but that's the thing. It's sacrifice. It's hustle. One of my colleagues, my friends, if you will, he and I bumped into each other at the warehouse, which happens to be here in Rhode Island. So we get to pick up all our freight instead of having it shipped. which is nice in Rhode Island. A lot of people from Connecticut and Mass that are close enough do the same thing. But in any event, I bumped into him. It was a summertime. He and I started in the same year, and he expanded substantially. But when we talked for a few minutes while we were both loading up, he kind of joked about being a little, not jealous, but, when he told me he spent the entirety of Father's Day, and he is a father, brewing a brutal brew day in the middle of the summer instead of being home as a dad. There is so much hustle and sacrifice that really does go into this. So, I mean, if you don't love what you do, I feel like you're not in it. And yeah, I mean, it shows in the product. It shows in the,
it definitely shows on the product
itself,
yeah.
Well, let's talk about the product. You were talking about your brew style. Characterize your brew style for us.
Yeah, I really enjoy brewing things that, you can't find just anywhere. Stuff that's unique, stuff that you might not have ever had. I mean, at least locally, if anywhere. So like, for example, that white stout, it's kind of one of those things. It was a challenge for me because I had never had anything. I didn't know what the heck it was. It's not even a real style. It's like, there's no white stout category on the app or whatever that you were using, doesn't exist. So things like that are challenging, things that pique my interest. Those are the kinds of things that I wanted to bring to the public, and share with them.
Sure.
So the white stouts, that's like, I decided for me, that meant a golden colored ale. I brewed it to kind of taste like a stout. So it's brewed with coffee and vanilla and cocoa. So you still get a lot of those stouty essences, but on a golden colored beer. And then, there's other things. Neapolitan, the one that you just, I forget who had that can. One of you had it.
John's going to be drinking that. As
okay,
matter of fact, I think Have you finished your first beer, John?
I'm almost there. There's a couple of brewery news things we should talk about. So let's finish this part first, and then we'll.
Well, because the thing is, while she's talking about her beer, it's a crowler. It's going to last me the rest of the show.
That is true.
What are you going to drink?
That is true.
So, you were there when I bought it.
I know, but which one?
I have the chocolate habanero milk stout.
Oh, that's so good.
And John will attest to this. I love my spicy food, as does John.
Did you get the tortilla chips?
No, I don't need the tortilla chips.
Obviously, you probably wouldn't want to eat them all on the show, but
no.
Tortilla chips with that. So delicious.
Do I have? I don't think I even have. Do I?
Because you get salty, you get sweet, you get spice. It's nice. Oh.
Well, I'm gonna take that. I'm gonna run and go get my tortilla chips. I'll be right back.
Look at
that. See? This is great. Oh, I'm very excited.
See that? Good suggestion.
Have you had the Neapolitan? I know you had that.
I have not opened it yet.
But you hadn't had it, though. Right?
I hadn't had it before. No.
Okay.
That's why I opted for this one.
This is cool. So. It's always fun for me. I mean, because whether it be remotely or not, at least now I get to see when people taste things for the first time, because that used to be part of the excitement of being in the tap room.
By the way, I'm remiss for putting up our producers. Cheers.
Yeah, there we go. So yeah, Brian is he's our producer in name and in research. One day we may put him to work, and if we put him to work,
actually put him to work. But yeah,
and in which case we may actually have to pay him. And I Liz poured this one too.
There you go.
Oh my God! So right off the bat, you do not get the habanero on the nose, but you certainly get the chocolate on the nose.
Good.
That is straight up a chocolate milk stout. Nose feel to it. Nose feel is another term we love to use on this show. It came from a friend of ours who would always come up to
Eric.
Cheers, Eric. Who would always show up to our bottle shares. Claimed to not know a damn thing about craft beer, but would almost always show up with the best bottle.
It literally almost always show up with. He'd have a couple bottles, but at least one of the bottles he brought was the best bottle of any of us. Even though he didn't know anything about craft beer.
And so
either that or the shop he went to had the best manager, if you will. So
yes,
okay.
And he would sit there and making fun of us. Go, oh, it's got a lovely nose feel. So,
that was his word to bust our chops. So it became our word too.
So we've embraced that word rather than the nose. It's now the nose feel. So we're trying to spread that.
Well, I'm glad to be a part of that inside joke now.
There you go. Nosefeel. That's his nickname too on a lot of groups is Eric Nosefeel. I'll call him out, Cohen.
First sip of this beer, it's still all that chocolate milk stout, and then just a half a second later, that habanero kicks in, and it's not a burn, but it's that feel of the burn without the burn. If that makes any sense whatsoever, you're catching.
Are you feeling it in your sinuses at all?
No, it's not clearing up the sinuses, but in all the places that habanero heat would normally hit you, across the top of the palate,
your esophagus going down, kind of warms you in your chest a little.
Right, and you get it also off the sides of the tongue. I'm waiting until see if it moves into underneath, because that's usually what capsaicin will do, is it starts wrapping itself around.
Sure. Brian, our producer, put up. Eric Cohen is Mr.
Nosefeel. So now you said to try this with tortilla chips, right?
Yes, because then you get the salty, the sweet, and the spice. It's such a trifecta of flavors all at once.
Isn't that lovely? Because he has a mic on his face, so that
it's going to be.
Hey, I was chomping on popcorn the whole last show.
Tortilla chips make more noise than popcorn does.
So you're telling me to lift the mic up a little bit?
No. Keep it going. I want to hear that. I wasn't complaining.
It's not on my end. I can't. It's not
I was not complaining at all.
No.
Well, that does work together. That works together nicely.
While we're drinking, folks out there watching, out there in television land, if you will, let us know what you're drinking. By the way, we never ask you. Let us know what you're drinking while watching the show. So let us know. And Brian, if you're drinking water, you don't have to tell us you're drinking water.
Yeah, please, no.
So I'm just about done with this.
Well, while you're finishing that up, what's the industry news, John?
What's the industry news? All right, let me take a sip.
So brace yourself.
There we go. Brace yourself. Here we go. So I gotta put this up here. Hold on, because we
have a crawl for it.
We have a crawl for. Anyway, no, just a couple of things. Cue the crawl. Yeah, just a couple of things I wanted to put up there. Trillium is now shipping via UPS to Pennsylvania.
Why do they deserve that?
I don't know. They started this past Saturday, the 23rd. They have been using UPS to ship throughout Massachusetts, Vermont, and New Hampshire. But now they've added, instead of Maine or Rhode Island or Connecticut, they've added Pennsylvania to, and they're shipping. I guess they cleared paperwork with the state. I don't know, but yeah, they're using UPS and they're shipping throughout Pennsylvania. So. Yes. Okay, so anybody you in Pawtucket, Rhode Island, cannot get Trillium shipped to you, but somebody in Erie, PA can.
Okay, so everybody who's listening from the RI craft beer groups, we were going to be organizing a picket.
While it's annoying, obviously, to Rhode Island, it really shouldn't be, because it's how long of a ride to Trillium, really? I mean,
actually. Well, today it'd be about 2 hours.
Well, yeah, normally. Non-snow.
Trillium, it takes me probably about 25 minutes to get
25 minutes, there you go.
But you've seen how I drive.
This is true. So 40 minutes for most people, 25 for Dave. But, no, seriously. And you know what? Forget about that. What do you think about that, the shipping to Pennsylvania? Just in general. I mean, for any brewery, not just Trillium or shipping via UPS, I should say, not just to Pennsylvania.
I think it's unfair. I really think it's unfair. The reason I think it's unfair is Pennsylvania gets Pliny. The only state that gets Pliny, and now they're the only state.
Well, the only state that gets, Pliny, let's expand that, Russian River. They get Russian River. They're the only state east of the Mississippi that gets Russian River.
And now they're getting Trillium? That's not fair.
Too.
No, that's not fair.
Let's all pack up and move to Pennsylvania.
And especially if it's Eastern Pennsylvania, has the worst sports fans on the planet.
Let's not call everybody out. You know what? I have to admit, I do know plenty of Eagles fans that are nice people. So there you go. Let's put this up.
I'm thinking.
Let's put this up really quick. Brian is not drinking. He's busy cooking dinner. And he also did time in and say it's probably the shipping laws. And I agree with you. It's probably the shipping.
No, I know. We're joking. We are joking about all this. We're not
we
going
are-
to do a
we're-
picket line. We
yes.
are going to do a picket line. They still have
There's
to
no
run
picket line at Trillium coming. We're only joking about Pennsylvania. Relax. So we're just we're
we are.
jealous, folks. We're jealous. That's what the problem is here. And Susan Raleigh just said she wishes she had Crooked Current.
Well, you live right over there.
Oh, wait, is she local?
Yeah.
Oh,
She's down in Providence.
You've got to come down, grab something, especially if you're not far.
There you
We
go.
have so many cool things. In fact, I don't know if you're a fan of chocolate cherry, but we have our chocolate cherry milk stout coming up next week.
Oh, would that be tie into Valentine's?
Exactly. So
Yeah.
we're going to run a couple batches of it this year, and
There you
it'll run right into Valentine's Day, because Valentine's that lands on a Sunday. So we'll have it for those 2 weeks.
Yes, it is.
Valentine's
But
is on a
the
Sunday.
chocolate cherry milk stout kind of culminates. So the chocolate habanero that you're drinking,
Mhm.
and then we have a chocolate orange that's on this week. And then the chocolate cherry is coming up next week. Yeah.
And
Very
now
nice.
I'm at the point where the habanero has now made the lips tingle.
Well,
It's great on a day like today. It warms you up from the inside.
Yes, it does well. We're going to take a picture of this when I
Yeah.
check this sucker in for
While you
Untappd.
do that, I'll move on to the other brewery news.
Oh, there's another piece of industry
Another
news.
piece of industry news, yes. So, and it's sad, and there's a sad aspect of it and a funny aspect of it. So just bear with me. Here we go.
Okay.
All right. Samurai, are you familiar with Collins Pub?
I am familiar with Collins Pub.
Okay.
Actually, someone else told me about that earlier today.
Collins Pub in Morris Plains, New Jersey,
Where I lived before.
is closing its doors permanently on February 15th, and it's only a couple of days actually before its 50th anniversary. So they're going to actually miss their 50th
Weird.
anniversary by a couple of days. But now that is very sad, and it's sad. That is sad, and all of the bars and
Any
restaurants closings, any of them are horrible. That's actually happening during this, especially ones that have been in they've been going 50 years and they're closing, But I have to say this. I have to put this up there. There is one news organization which I will not call out, and the Facebook post that they had for this particular article. This was the picture at the top of it for Collins Pub in Morris Plains, New Jersey, closing. This was the picture. Okay.
That does not look like their taps whatsoever.
No.
That is not their building.
That's not their
I
building.
can attest to that. I
Okay.
have been in there, and I think
Well,
the best beer they pour.
Well, let's look at the taps for 1 second. Berkshire Brewing Company is not in
Yeah.
New Jersey.
Oh, this is Massachusetts. Absolutely.
Wormtown Brewing Company is not New Jersey, and I'm pretty sure that Sam Adams has not distributed Red Sox Boston Lager handles around New Jersey.
That's Sam Adams,
So,
right?
yeah,
And
it's
there's a Jack Sabby in there in the background.
Well, Jack Sabby's in New Jersey, so that's fine, and so is Allagash. But no, that picture, I did a little research. That picture is actually from a bar in Sturbridge. Actually, I can tell you the exact bar it is. It is from Ebenezer's Tavern at the Public House in Sturbridge. From 2 years ago. So,
Sturbridge, which is you
Massachusetts.
mentioned Treehouse earlier. That's where Treehouse is.
Treehouse
Yeah.
is in Sturbridge, yeah. Well, Charlton.
Charlton, just next to Sturbridge.
Charles next to Sturbridge, but yeah. So it's a 2-year-old picture. So yeah, I don't know.
Someone messed up.
Someone that was interesting. I just found it amusing. Little things, simple things make me amused. So
As they do jest.
And a lot of people actually.
Yeah.
A lot of people. Actually.
You glossed right over what I was getting at. So go.
Sure. Yes. So in any event, yeah. So there you go. Oh, and one other thing too. I just want to say. I don't know if you heard this. Victory Brewing. They had and as I said, had a tap room in Kennett Square.
Kennett Square. Is it Kennett Square?
Kennett Square. It's like due south of Downingtown, almost down to Delaware. Yesterday there was an explosion and a fire there. Yeah, thank God they were closed. Yeah. They were closed.
Were they doing
Nobody was there.
Bottle conditioning of their first brew?
It didn't say anything. No. Right. No, it didn't say what the cause was or anything. But yeah, it was bad. So,
Anybody injured?
Well, it's
no,
in an apartment building too. I saw like there was people who live there as well.
It was downstairs
like,
from it was a big, almost like a mill kind of thing. It was a big storefronts, and they had a section of it, and there's apartments above and everything else. So,
Oof.
yeah.
So hopefully nobody was hurt.
Yeah.
I didn't see that there were any injuries, so hopefully everybody escaped unscathed. But yeah, that was the bad, horrible crap from yesterday. Yeah, but luckily for them, it could have been worse. They weren't in operation yesterday, so nobody was in there. So anyway, that should wrap up brewery news. Normally we also mention any openings, but I don't think there has been any. Not in New Jersey. That I know of.
No, Rhode Island had one a little over a couple weeks ago. Rejects. Reject Brewing opened. I can't remember the name of the town right now. It's just right next to Newport, right on Aquidneck Avenue, as a matter of fact. And they're named after the local beach there. The local beach there is where all the rejects from the really cool surfer dudes went to. That was kind of the alt community, and they wanted to pay homage to that. It's funny because they have a few igloos, and one of them blew off onto Aquidneck Avenue the other day.
Nice.
Oh, no.
So it got rescued and tied down on the back by one of their patrons. So I'm sure he got a few pints out of that deal.
There you go.
No, I've been. They've got fire pits outside, some neat space inside.
You said it's the alt community. Is Brian involved with that at all?
Yeah, no, not alt as in the German old, like Brian.
Yeah.
Because I like to say that because he's actually older than I am.
He's older than all of us.
Yes, when our drinking circle gets together, he's the oldest.
Yeah.
I'm the second.
By months, but he's still the oldest.
It's just I don't know about that. At any rate, so that was Well, I probably should mention that last show that they had opened because they've been open for a little bit.
Right. Well, we had that a couple of weeks ago. So
yeah.
Good. Well, there you go.
So let's move on to our threes.
No, let's move on to my beer.
Oh, yeah. Why don't you open? Oh, well, maybe you didn't drink so slow.
Well, you know what? Why didn't you drink so fast? Right.
Well,
I do have to say one thing before I open this. Actually, this is Neapolitan Brown. I do have to say, Dave and I were speaking about this the other day. It's really cool that this Crowler can actually has its own label. So it's not just
you don't see that too often.
Style. No, it's true, but that's the only style that we have that actually has its own label. So that really does speak to just how popular it is. Hopefully you enjoy it.
Sure I will. I'm gonna throw
so
this
that
up
one's
right
there. It's supposed to be sort of like a tribute to the ice cream. So it's got a hint of chocolate, vanilla, and strawberry in it. The more you drink of it, one or the other of the flavors may come out a little bit more. In some cases, you might get a little bit more in the aroma on certain flavor notes, but it is very, very cool. You can definitely get like all three of those flavors will definitely come through, which is cool. I designed that on a light-bodied brown ale on purpose because I felt like it was just the most appropriate style to allow those flavors to really shine through without having to compete too much with the base beer. I think that's kind of another part of my brewing style is just that I don't necessarily ever want whatever ingredients that I'm using as my inspiration for the beer. In this case, it's the chocolate, vanilla, strawberry. I really don't want them to have to compete to overcome, some very bold, very, flavorful base style, which for a lot of these types of beers you often do find on imperial stouts, and I've had plenty of imperial stouts that had some flavor in them and they were great. I really enjoy actually allowing these flavored beers to be on lower alcohol, different types of styles, not to compete with that, because an imperial stout on its own that's an intense beer.
It's a very intense beer. Well, I got to tell you, I love a good brown ale. It's one of my favorite styles. I love a great brown ale. And I just want to point out, before I haven't even taken a sip of this yet. I've been sniffing the hell out of it, but I haven't. The nose feel on this thing now. What's really amazing to me, I mean, anybody out there that's had a Neapolitan ice cream before, chocolate, vanilla, strawberry, smelling this, I can pick out the chocolate, I can pick out the vanilla, I can pick out the strawberry, and if you think about it, when you're eating that and you eat it all together, there's like a fourth flavor that the three of them combine to present.
Fried chicken?
Of course.
No.
No, oysters. No.
Oh, yeah.
No, like the blend of the three of them.
Right.
So, clearly you're going to get the blend of the three of them, and I can pick them apart individually.
Oh, I am so glad I've got a crowler of that sitting in my fridge then.
I am too. I'm really excited. I'm so excited for you to get to try these things.
Wow.
Like,
oh wow, yeah, I'm getting chocolate. It's same as in the nose. I'm getting chocolate. I'm getting vanilla, and I'm getting strawberry.
That's awesome.
So you just mentioned this. Every time I've been to the brewery, I have never seen anything on the board over 6%. Now, is this by design, or am I just catching you?
Well, and that's actually what I was going to say, because I am almost 7 years in, and I feel like I can count on one hand how many times I've seen you. So, yes,
I've been there when you weren't there, actually.
Yes.
But
okay, so technically, I can still count on one hand.
You could probably still count on one hand, because I think I've been there 5 times.
I've been there too. But
really, see,
actually, it's close to almost 4 years ago. But yeah.
It is definitely by design that I do tend to lean heavily on the side of beers that are more sessionable. That is true. Even though it is not exclusive, there's definitely been several Imperials that I have done.
Oatmeal raisin 6.5, so that's above 6, and I've had that. So I guess I lied to myself. And oh my God, eggnog stout.
Well, where are you looking right now? Because
that's on tap. Yeah.
But that's a user-driven app, so somebody would have had to input that, right?
Oh, then what you need to do is you as a brewer can take that over.
You can actually claim that as your own, and you can anybody that's gone in there and added those beers and added the information and everything else, you can control.
Well, I see
the actual logos up and everything else too. Yeah.
Entering lots of things with like kind of one eye open and okay, yep, there we go. And so, in other words,
you could
my profile, whatever information people have put in or input, I haven't checked that or verified that, so I don't.
Well, John and I both know a brewery in New Jersey that if you input one of their beers, a beer that may actually have subtle differences from year to year, and actually re-input it with a different year, that will be immediately deleted. John, you know what I'm talking about.
I know.
They take strict control of every beer that has been input under their brewery's name, so you can actually grab that, claim it, and control it.
Okay.
Yeah. And it doesn't prohibit anybody else from adding beers under your name, but you're actually going to get notified because if you control that page or if you control the brewery, anybody that puts a beer up under your profile, you're going to get an email saying, "Hey, somebody added a beer in your and then you can go and verify it. And if you haven't put that one up yet, maybe it's a brand new beer and you haven't gotten around to adding that to Untappd, you can go put the logo up, change the ABV if they got it wrong, add the description, whatever you need to do. Or if it's just an additional one, sometimes people will go in there and add another beer, even though the original one's in there, just so they can get an additional check-in of a different beer.
Well, and think about it too, like, that's kind of the whole, especially if you go to like a beer fest and stuff, you aren't necessarily always going to remember, by the end of the beer. I think I always think of those apps more as apps that people use at beer fests. I guess I'm ignorant for that reason, because I didn't think anybody paid that much attention to them, to be honest, but I guess I'm wrong. I just I just enjoy beer, but some of the technology that comes with it, I don't. As it was, I was trying to figure out how to get on this with you guys. I had to make sure I had all my proper equipment. I feel so advanced technologically.
All you have to do is just download the app, sign up with an email address, and then you can go into any of those and claim the brewery. And then Untappd will verify it, and then you have control over it. That's it. Done.
But, and I mean, I feel like we got off on a huge tangent, and I'm wicked sorry about that. To your point about that.
You see that wicked sorry, you're in New England.
Wicked sorry. Speaking of wicked anything, an additional note on the brewery news thing. I'm gonna take this crawl off now because we all know that I'm drinking that beer. So there you go. But Sam Adams is actually putting up a. They have a new. Was it Wicked
IPA?
Wicked Hazy IPA.
Wicked Hazy is their new IPA. Yep.
They're actually doing a commercial for Wicked Hazy IPA on the Super Bowl.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and now Budweiser has said they're not putting up any ads. They're not doing any ads.
No
This year.
Clydesdales?
No Clydesdales.
As much as I hate Budweiser, I love the Clydesdale commercials.
No, yeah, of course. Yeah, how can you not? But no Clydesdales, no, and Coke and Pepsi aren't actually doing anything either. But Sam Adams is actually doing a commercial, and I will tell you this: I read the article today, and it's no secret. I read the article; it's out there. Whatchamacallit, there are Clydesdales in the Sam Adams commercial. I'm gonna leave it at that. I'm not going to spoil it for you. Enjoy it at the Super Bowl.
That's awesome.
I actually watched the commercial today.
Hey, John, we may not be watching the Super Bowl. We might be busy drinking beers.
This is true.
EBF falls during Super Bowl, does it not?
The weekend, Friday night and Saturday. Sunday.
Oh, it's Friday, Saturday. Sunday's the Super Bowl. Yeah, that's right. It's the weekend. So we might be hungover for the Super Bowl.
Oh, we'll definitely be hungover. But that's given most of the time. So.
Yeah, that's true.
But we have all day to sober up because the Super Bowl starts at 6:40 at night, so it's fine. So I watched the commercial. It's pretty funny.
Nice.
Enjoy it. So it'll be good. So let's.
I'm almost done with this crowler, by the way.
You're almost done with the crowler.
I'm so excited that you love it so much. I'm so glad
you're
really
good.
it. I'm so happy. That is one of. I love spice beers. Love spice beers. I love spice in general, but spice beers, I just think they're. It's a challenge because everybody's palate is different and what they think is in terms of hotness, so the spice is one of the most sensitive taste buds, I feel like. So it's a challenge to kind of get it just right where a wide array of people who like spice and who are sensitive to it can enjoy it.
Sure.
Without it being overwhelming or underwhelming. So it's
I
definitely...
think you nailed it here because I think this beer would be approachable to people who really can't take a lot of heat. They'd probably be able to finish a pint of it, have their lips tingle, and go, okay, and tap out.
Yeah.
Whereas those of us who drink Crime and Punishment from Stone and enjoy it, are like, hey, no, this is actually a chili beer with a little bit of burn to it.
Have you ever tried the Sculpin, the habanero Sculpin?
Yeah.
That's hot.
It is
habanero
hot.
Habanero Sculpin is hot.
But if you've had Crime and Punishment, habanero Sculpin is nothing compared to Crime and Punishment.
Okay.
Crime and Punishment is full of nagas and scorpions and some of the hottest peppers out there, and I'm waiting for them to do a different version with the new hottest peppers. I don't know what to call that one.
I don't know what I haven't had Crime and Punishment, so I can't tell you. I've had habanero Sculpin.
Either. I know that it's a crime. I haven't had it.
Yeah, let's see what you did there.
I see where you went there.
I know. Yeah.
Pete Koch was quoted as saying, "I brewed these beers and I can't drink them." So,
nice.
yeah, they're quite painful.
That's funny.
They burn.
It's like the hottest beer that I've ever tried, and it's tough because it's great to cook with. And of course, just because
you cook with a chili or
chili, absolutely. Yeah. Or I always add a little spice to like soups and stuff. Works pretty well.
Habanero Sculpin in soup.
I like it.
That would work in a carrot soup, I think.
I've put
like a chicken vegetable soup of some kind, yeah.
Sure. I've put pepper stouts, hot stouts.
Mm-hmm.
Not a lot of it, but I've used it in chili.
Yeah,
it's delicious in chili for sure. Absolutely delicious.
Crazy.
I love, and it's not just because I couldn't drink it all, so I just had to figure out something to do with it. I genuinely have always used different beers or liquors or wines or what have you in food in general. Cooking with the stuff you're drinking is fun.
Susan Rowley is excited and
nice
for peppers.
Pepper, yeah.
Look at that chili.
I will say that chili, the habanero, the chocolate habanero, is on its last leg. So if you are interested,
Susan, get over there tomorrow.
We're gonna be open again on Thursday.
Thursday, get over there Thursday.
And we always take pre-orders as well, especially now during COVID and everything. So I've been doing pre-orders for people.
And Brian can't wait to come visit as soon as possible. I'm assuming he means you and not me and Dave. But,
no, considering he's seen us both recently. And he's probably had probably more of his share of me this past weekend. Yeah.
So. Is he in New Jersey as well?
Yeah, I went down for the weekend, and Brian and his wife and his lovely wife Sherry
Susan said thumbs up. So
I can't wait for you to have it. You're gonna love it, Susan. I mean, all of my beers are like my children, so I mean, it stands to reason. I'd never not like one of my children, but at the same time, I do have secret favorites that I won't tell the other beers.
Tell us after the show.
Yes, tell us after the show.
And the thing is, there's always a saying when you have children, though, you love all your children, but every now and then you don't like them so much. Right, John?
I feel that way about certain ones, and that just mostly has to do with the brewing process. It's a pain, so they're like my painful children. Even though they come out delicious, sometimes I'm like, are you really worth as delicious as you are for the pain that you cause my mental psyche?
Well, I'll tell you what, you just said that too, Dave. You said happy birthday. We all said happy birthday to Sarah today, and she commented back, thank you. And we said happy birthday to my daughter Marina last week, and she did not comment back. Thank you.
Yeah, and he went through all the trouble of doing so that he could wish her happy birthday on the exact time she was born.
At the minute she was born, 5:34 p.m. she was born. So 5:35 p.m. she was born.
I think it's the first time John started the show on time.
You're a funny guy. Well, there's a lot of other factors that go into starting the show on time other than me being ready. Okay, so remember that.
I have delayed the show twice.
Anyway, all right. Should we get to top threes?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's get to top threes. All right, top threes. Our list every week. Reason we do threes it's two reasons. One, we pay homage to 1933, the repeal of Prohibition. And also because if we did a top 10 list, it would take too long. Yeah. So we do top threes.
And we actually threw a few rules onto this one.
Yes. Go ahead.
So,
go ahead. You explain the rules. Go ahead.
So explain the rules. Well, let's announce the top threes first. So if you didn't see the posts, the top three is your top three favorite places outside of your home state where you like to drink. I didn't phrase it the way we've typed it, I know. So we threw a few rules on there.
We like to drink beer, by the way, not just drink.
Yeah,
beer.
just drink. John and I are both locked out of New Jersey, so I'm a Jersey boy at heart, and John does live there, so we're both locked out of Jersey. I'm a current Rhode Island resident, so I'm locked out of Rhode Island. But John and I also agreed, because we would fight over the venues, to lock ourselves out of New York, because that's like a second home to us.
Mm-hmm. New York City.
New York City.
If we wanted to put somewhere in Albany, knock ourselves out. But,
oh yeah. Like if we want to do druthers up in Saratoga, sure, that's fine. Yeah. No, definitely New York City, because we'd be fighting over Augerswell and Spite and Dival and all that. So we locked ourselves out of that. And
so we just mentioned them without actually having to mention them. By the way.
Yes,
I know if you noticed,
we're not allowed to mention
that.
We still snuck it in on the radar. And the reason we wanted to do this one was because we talked before the show, and there's always that joke that Rhode Islanders never leave Rhode Island. As a matter of fact, a lot of Rhode Islanders don't go 15 minutes beyond the town they live in. So it's kind of a tongue-in-cheek little jab at the Rhode Island community that you see cars with bumper stickers that say this car never leaves Rhode Island. And you believe it because it happens. A lot of people don't leave Rhode Island, so we figured it'd be a fun one to bring up in the show with a Rhode Island brewer, who actually has been out of state.
There you go.
And one of the other rules is it has to be 3 different states, but Nichole didn't have a lot of time to prepare, so we'll give her a mulligan if she repeats a state. But John and I don't get no mulligans on this show.
Yeah, right. And
so
I'm all set anyway. I'm not repeating a state. So.
Okay, then you go first.
Me? All right.
Yeah, you go first.
Unless Nichole's ready. Are you ready?
Go ahead. I'll go after you.
Okay. All right. I'll go first then. All right. I will start off with the fact that neither of you can use Rhode Island, but I will, and that would be Poor Judgment in Newport.
I love this place.
Yeah. Such a cool place. I could sit down at the bar, order some food, start ordering beer, and before I know it, it's 6 hours later, and I was like, oh, well, I guess I'm not going here and here and here tonight. I might as well stay here a little longer.
The best part is the first time I was there was like a long time ago, and the bartender was from Jersey, found out my buddy and I were from New Jersey, and got into a lot of trouble with the other patrons because they spent way too much time with us talking about New Jersey.
Sure.
Kind of fun.
That was yeah. It's a funny. Oh, we got Brian's 3 too. We'll throw them up afterwards. Hold on,
Okay.
Brian. We'll get to you in a second. Yeah. Anybody else wants to give us your top 3
Yep.
favorite places to drink outside of your home state? Bring them in. We're going to do Brian's in a second. Anyway, my second would be in Portland, Maine, Navarre Res Beer Cafe. The beer
Legendary.
The beer list in this place is insane. Insane. And it's not only that you're not realizing how long you've been in the place, it's also you don't want to leave because there's more stuff to drink. There's more beers to have. And big Oxbow place. Oxbow, the blendery, the different blends that they have that they put out. And most of them are bottle pours too. Their bottle list is insane.
I may have to get there this year.
You got to get there. And my number one place, it's been a number one favorite haunt of mine for many years, in Boston, Massachusetts, Bukowski's Tavern, right on Dalton Street, just down from about 150 feet off of Boylston. It's they're open late. It's my every time I'm in Boston, it's where I go before I go to bed. I very rarely have I been in there when it's light out, but I'm there at least every time I'm in Boston. I'm there 4 or 5 times, and I should have. They actually have a mug club, and I never joined it. I should. But the beer list they have in there and the food's ridiculously good too. And that's another place you could just sit down at the bar. And you're talking to the bartender, you're talking to whoever you're with, you're talking to whoever is next to you that you're not with, and it's a place where you just get lost in the fact that you're there. And we'll get there at like 1 a.m. They're open till 4. All of a sudden it's 4:15 and they're kicking us out. I'm like, how long have I been here? What, 3.5 hours? So yeah, it's that kind of place. Great place. So those are my 3: Poor Judgment in Newport, Rhode Island, Navarre Res in Portland, Maine, and Bukowski's Tavern in Boston, Massachusetts. All right. Nichole?
You're up, Nichole.
Well, and it's funny because I guess it's going to be underwhelming now because Portland in general was going to be. See, I was going more for my experiences, not necessarily individual locations, like particular locations, like particular bars or breweries, but rather like actual locations.
That's
like
fine
geographic
too.
locations, but Portland would have been my number one as well, and Navarre Res is pretty awesome. Did you ever get into the speakeasy that's there, Lincoln's?
Yes.
You did. Okay.
I'm taking notes for my trip.
Oh my goodness! Actually, that's where Jason proposed to me. He said, "What better place to propose to a brewer than in Portland, the Mecca?"
That's awesome. Yeah.
That's a great story.
Great job, Jason.
Halloween.
Good call.
Yes. Well played. Well played.
Well played, Jay.
Actually, he printed out a "Will you marry me" picture with the 2 of us and taped it onto a crowler can, one of our crowler cans.
What do you?
It was very, very sweet.
Right over the Neapolitan logo.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. Oh man, but also I have to say some of my fondest memories were also spent drinking on the Saco River, floating down on a tube. Because if you've never had that experience, whew, that's amazing.
Really? So
no, I have not.
Where is the Saco River?
So it's I'm sure it's pretty long. The part that I was at, it's New Hampshire. I mean, I don't think there's any other Saco River. That's probably the only one.
Does it come out? It comes out in Maine, does it?
It might overlap at some point.
Does it exit near Saco, Maine, or?
No, where I mean, it was just, I don't know, maybe it starts there and ends in New Hampshire. I don't know where it starts. That's a good question. But
the part that you're talking about is in New Hampshire.
Absolutely. So, it's just the most amazing thing to just be floating down a natural river, drinking really whatever beer. Usually I have some of my own, crowlers, and just the experience, and especially if you get a nice day, which I've been lucky enough to always get a beautiful sunny day in the middle of the summer, floating on a tube, drinking beer. Oh my goodness. It's so geographically, that's in my top 3.
That's
and
awesome.
Then,
by the way, folks out there, if you once again want to give us your top 3 favorite places to drink beer outside of your home state, bring them in because we're going to get to them right after this.
Yeah, and
Continue.
Brian, if your top three included New York City, you're excluded too, by the way.
No, it's not. It's not at all.
But no, I think also in my top three would be just the general like Miami, Fort Lauderdale area. It's kind of hard to pick a favorite down there in that vicinity, but there are so many really awesome places and clustered kind of in that vicinity.
Yeah, Laser Wolf is one that comes to mind for me.
And then we have there's a place down there, Concrete Beach, that has ties to Rhode Island. The brewer down there used to be the assistant at Trinity under Tommy, and then he got offered a head brewer position down there in Miami. So obviously he left Rhode Island and took a promotion in Miami. Right up this block from like Jay Wakefield and all that. Whole
so he's in the Wynwood area.
Yes, he's in that's in Wynwood.
Oh, okay.
Took a little bit of Rhode Island down to that area with him. So I kind of have a special place in my heart for that vicinity, and just so many amazing spots clustered in that one area, and it's so artsy with the murals, and obviously, how can you beat the weather?
Exactly.
The beach. I'm a big beach person anyway. Rhode Island. So honestly, my number one place to drink would be on any beach, anywhere, in the warm weather, with any beer, really.
Sand in your feet.
Yes.
Ocean in front of you. Beer in your hand.
So that's
Period.
why I picked the tubing, because that was kind of a similar experience.
There you go.
No sand per se. Well, some places along the river there, but so Portland, Maine,
Saco
I would
River,
say like the Miami vicinity, and the Saco River. Those are my top three.
That's an impressive list. Yeah.
There you go. Samurai, what are yours?
So, one of them is in. I've gone down to Nashville a couple times, and in both times I've gone through Knoxville. Knoxville is
So Dollywood's one of your favorites, then?
Yes, to drink at Dollywood on the no. So Knoxville. The first time we were in Knoxville, it was starting to it was burgeoning, and the craft beer community there is starting to grow. So the second time down there, we started to experience that. But the first time, went to this place called Trailhead. Trailhead, it looked like it was an old. Not a mill like you get up here, but like one of those old small mills, kind of like River Horse used to be in, right, John? One of those things.
That mill was great,
right?
I would have. I missed that place,
right? But it's a building like that, but ramshackle.
Sure.
Okay. The patio was covered with pallets. That was the roof of the patio with pallets. We were sitting on a torn up, beat to hell couch. Off in one corner. I don't think the bartender had shoes on. And it was just a neat place to sit and drink. And my really neat memory was these two, bona fide hillbillies. Because let's face it, we're in Tennessee. These two bona fide hillbillies walk in. And I don't remember the name.
Were they card-carrying hillbillies? They were bona fide?
Yes, bona fide. Yeah, they showed the cards as they came in. No, they actually wore them on their lapels.
Gotcha.
I don't remember the names because they were talking, but let's go with Jeb and Clem, because that seems to be good names for hillbillies.
Why not?
And they walk up, and I swear to God, the one's like, so, Jeb, they got, no, first the one guy who's the bartender goes, you got any of those, you got any new IPAs? I like those IPAs. Hey, Clem, there's some new Belgians. I know you like those Belgian beers, and I'm just sitting there stunned because these guys just long beards, the floppy hat. They walked out of the woods, got on their whatever, and
they
probably still had some bushy tail that they'd captured and killed to eat later, in the truck.
And they were all up in
about IPAs and Belgians, and it was just. I sat there just stunned, and it was a really neat moment. It was a really neat place to sit and drink.
That's great.
The second one, I kind of went back and forth because there's that Florida vibe. I've been down there a few times.
Sure.
My brother's poolside was in the running, because some of my friends can attest to his beer fridges.
Beer
Yeah.
fridges.
And not to mention the beers that are actually in the fridge that has the food in it. The Lanai has since been torn down, but it's still a nice place to sit and drink. But no, we're not going to go with that one. What I wanted to go with was Mekong in Richmond, Virginia. It's a Vietnamese restaurant that has an insane beer list and ridiculously good Vietnamese food. And if that's not good enough for you, you walk around the backside and the Answer Brew Pub is back behind there. And the Answer Brew Pub, when we were there, they had this one band, this blues band, and they had horns, and they were playing like Tower of Power music. Oh, it was fantastic, and the beer there is so good. So that would have to be number two, of an out of state place. Number one is something that's always been near and dear to my heart. I have been there many times to the point that I used to go there so often that the staff knew us. And this is New York State. So this is up in the Adirondacks. It's the Lake Placid Brew Pub.
Lake Placid Brew Pub, yes.
Plub, yes, the Blue Pub.
Lake Placid Blue Pub. Blue Pub.
The Blue Pub.
Brew Club.
So, my buddies and I, we would go up and we'd climb one of the high peaks. Not sure if I could do one today, but I've got to get in training to do another one.
Right. By the way, Brian said Mekong is a great answer.
Yes, and Brian knows. He's in the know. So we'd go up we climb our high peak. We'd get up in the morning, climb the high peak, come down, and be so damn cramped. Our legs wouldn't be working, but we would climb the 2 flight of stairs up to the bar area because we didn't want to be down in the restaurant. We don't want to be down with the commoners. No, yeah. We want to be up in the brew pub area where the tanks are.
Absolutely,
and
place to be.
And sipping on an Ubu. And, John, one of the earlier programs, we had the top 3 beers that got us into craft beer.
Sure.
If we ever did top 3 beers that got us back into craft beer, because remember, craft beer exploded for a little bit, and then there was a bit of a lull. Things plateaued. And at that point, I kind of got into wine a little bit, and I apologize to all craft beer now. But my buddies and I had gone up to Lake Placid, and we were up there at the same time as the Iron Man. None of us are Ironman. It was strictly coincidental. Mm-hmm. And because they're having the parade down the middle of town, we jumped into a restaurant. We sat down and we ordered beer. And it was my first taste of Ubu by Lake Placid. And if you get Ubu in the bottle, okay, it's okay. Sitting in the brew pub on draft, there's nothing better to ease all the pains of every single muscle. The teeny tiniest in your legs that have been screaming at you all day.
Sure.
And the food there is really good too. And it's one of my special places, and I can't wait to get back there.
Nice.
Yeah.
And for me, Lake Placid means I just go back to high school and ski trips up to Lake Placid. We
on the ice face.
White face. We used to call
it face. Yeah.
We dubbed it Lake Plastered, not Lake Placid. Lake Plastered. So
a lot of drinking going on there.
Absolutely.
What's Brian's 3?
Brian's 3. We got 3 actually. We got 3 threes.
Three more threes.
That's a brewery. That's a brewery actually. 3 threes.
Yes,
New Jersey. Brian's 3s are Monk's Cafe. For those of you that don't know, that's in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
And we kind of alluded to it earlier because they do get Pliny the younger there.
Pliny older, the elder.
Oh, the elder. They don't get the younger there?
They don't get the
younger.
younger there.
One of the places that got the elder.
No, they get.
That's only the brew pub only. Okay.
Brew pub, yeah, it's brew pub only, and some places do get kegs of it, but it's for the most part that's they only get elder. And they get blind pig once in a while too.
Mm-hmm.
And a bunch of the sours as well. So Monk's Cafe is the destination you want to go to for any Russian River in Philadelphia. So Avery out in Boulder, Colorado. And you know what, if I was leading towards breweries, that would have been one of mine as well. Avery is a great place to sit and relax, especially the outdoor section. You just sit there and you look at the mountains and you're overlooking Boulder and everything else. It's beautiful, and the beer is ridiculously good. So I agree with you on that one. And EBF, of course.
It'll be a little different this year.
It's going to be a little different this year, but EBF is always a great place to enjoy some.
John Bryan, Gene, and I are kind of planning on doing it together remotely.
There you go.
We'll see how that works.
We'll see how that works out. Those are Brian's. And speaking of, we got 2 others. Where I don't know where Dave just went.
Oh, no.
That happened last week, too. He just clicked one thing, and he's gone. And he'll be back in a second, though. I guarantee you.
Yeah.
I'll just keep talking until he comes back. And nope, the device is not connected. And there he is. You did it again.
I mentioned I think there's a timeout on this. I mentioned Gene,
and it went away.
Yeah,
it's all Gene's fault.
It's all Gene's fault.
Well, speaking of Gene, these are his 3.
Well, no, before we get to Gene's 3, since Brian brought up monks, we'd be remiss because John and I would have had something on our list, was it not? Unfortunately, had been closed.
Right. I was going to mention afterwards, but yeah, go ahead, do it now.
Yeah, Eulogy Beer Bar.
Eulogy Beer Bar in Philadelphia. It's an old city.
All these Belgian beers, and you sit down, and they drop a phone book on your table.
Literally, the book is this thick, and it's their bottle list.
Mm.
It was such a good bar.
It was amazing.
I missed that place. Horribly missed that place.
I've crawled out of that place.
Yeah, that was a great bar. And on that note too, I also pay a little homage to Lower Depths up in Boston as well. Lower Depths is on Commonwealth, or was on Commonwealth, kind of around the corner from Fenway Park actually. And it was a great beer bar. The food was pretty damn good too. There's another bar in there now too, but Lower Depths was good. That was a good place. Let's get back to Gene's. EBF he starts out with.
Oh, Eddie's.
Eddie's Roadhouse in Warwick, New York. That is
Hey, Eddie.
That is a great place. I do have to give Gene a nod on that.
Yeah, we got to give you a nod on that one. And Eddie is a lunatic.
Yes, he is.
Not the Eddie that Roadhouse is named after. His father's not a lunatic, but.
Right. and Portsmouth Brewery. Is another.
Yeah, it's a lot of history. A lot of history there.
A lot of history there. That rounds out Gene's top 3. And we'll just throw up, for good measure, we'll throw up Susan's top 2 she's given us. She didn't actually go out of state with one. Cisco in Nantucket.
What do you mean she did go out of state?
She did go out of state. Oh, in Nantucket, right. Yeah, it's out of state.
Unfortunately, she missed the rule that you have to have separate states.
Separate states, right.
Because they're both in Mass.
Well, that's where I was going with that. That's where I misspoke. But, Cisco in Nantucket and Treehouse. Just two. Just two. But that works. That's good.
Awesome.
Yeah. So
there's another place, too. There's another great brew pub that I really enjoy in Vermont is Prohibition Pig.
Oh, that's
Prohibition Pig is very, very
that's
good.
Like
absolutely.
In the basement there is where the alchemists started their famous heady topper. I mean,
sure.
That's what they're most known for. But anyway, that place is beautiful. I mean, it doesn't have a view or anything like that, but they have amazing beer and their food is ridiculous.
Prohibition Pig is great, and if you want some ice cream, you're not too far away from Ben and Jerry's. So.
Exactly.
No, you're not.
So there's that. Absolutely. Yeah.
But that's a great place too. It really is. And we could do like 2 or 3 shows on Vermont.
I know.
And
we need John. We need, when all things clear, we need to do a show from Vermont.
Oh no, we'll do a show from Vermont.
Yeah,
we'll do one from Portland.
Maybe
Boston,
from,
of course.
Maybe from the 3 Penny Tap Room.
That would be nice. We could do that. Have some of the breweries, owners or brewers on from up there. That'd be nice. That'd be good.
Yeah.
Look forward to that. We'll definitely have to focus on that once all of this insanity ends.
Okay, the crowler is now empty.
I'm about half, so I've been.
He started a little late.
So I started later than you, and I don't drink as fast as Dave. But anybody that watches this show on a regular basis knows that. So.
I think the only person we know that drinks faster than I do might be Gene.
Gene, I think you know what? Some nights you're tied.
You go neck and neck.
You go neck and neck. But anyway, well, I mean that's awesome. You know what, Nichole? Thanks for coming on. This has been a great show. I loved having you. The beer's delicious, and we you know what? Once again, once this is done, and we can get out and around and everything else again too. We already said we're gonna go out and we're gonna do some mini little. Half-hour shows from this brewery and that brewery and so forth and so on, and you'll be one of them. So.
I would love that. That would be awesome.
Yeah, John and I are going to probably drink our way across Rhode Island at some point.
Sure. And then on the second day,
the summer or the fall, maybe we should be in good shape. I mean,
I'm hoping.
I don't know. I'm pretty hopeful.
Oh, it's going to take a while to get me into good shape.
Brian just said Gene isn't that fast a drinker.
Yeah, he's right. I do drink faster than Gene. Gene just drinks a lot more than I do usually.
Gene's in it for the long haul.
Yeah, Gene's the marathon runner.
Yeah,
I'm the sprinter.
Dave's the sprinter. Gene's the marathoner. So. Anyway, all right, but we'll definitely do that. Yeah, we're definitely going to work our way across. We're going to do a lot of places in Rhode Island. Gene's chiming in here. He agrees. He was going to say that you drink pretty damn fast. There you go. So I added the damn in there. So
yeah, you threw the damn in there. And what we might do is we might try to drag along some of these characters that pop up in the show every now and then who we mention,
like Brian and Gene, and
That'd be awesome. That'd be funny. I think your viewers would definitely get a kick out of watching you guys.
Absolutely.
Ubering.
Oh, the two of us together, and then bring these guys in.
Forget about it.
Ubering your way through the
Ubering our way through Pawtucket.
We may have to hire ourselves a driver, but it'll be interesting. Yeah, we have to do it live because anytime we do anything like virtual, Gene doesn't talk on virtual stuff.
No.
Yeah,
but when he does,
he throws down a gem.
So, all right. Well, we're definitely planning on that.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks for coming up. And Brian says he so wants that to happen. Absolutely.
Yes. And his son goes to URI. So.
Yes, he does. So yeah.
Oh, perfect.
We will go to his classroom, abduct him.
Absolutely. That was the plan last year. Brian's son actually turned 21 last March, and the plan was to go up there for a 4-day weekend, get him out of school, and go around Rhode Island up to Boston, hang out, get him back to school.
Hotels were booked.
Yeah, and
pandemic hit. And the pandemic hit in Rhode Island mostly because of URI.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. And Gene, by the way, Gene just said he can't get a word in with us too. So.
Oh, come on. He sits there with his face down.
Well, he is.
He's not wrong.
He's not wrong at all. So anyway, all right. Well, again, thanks for coming on. We'll definitely do this from your place soon, hopefully. Fingers crossed. And we'll go from there. Absolutely. All right, we'll wrap this show up for today. We want to thank everyone for watching, and for those of you listening to the audio podcast, thanks for listening. Don't forget to visit our website, www.lagerroom.com. That's LAGERROOM.com. And please remember, like us and follow us on all of our social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and our YouTube channel. All of them are at The Lager Room. And remember, we go live.
Did you skip Stitcher?
I didn't get there yet.
Oh, sorry.
Thank you.
I love to do that. I love to throw off his script.
You got to throw it all out.
I do it every.
And remember, we go live with the video podcast on both Facebook and YouTube every Tuesday at 5:30. For those of you that want to just listen to the audio podcast, you can do so on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, TuneIn, and Stitcher. And if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to one or more of those feeds, and you'll never miss a show. Again, thanks for following along with us. Have a great weekend. Thank you, Nichole, for coming on with us and providing us with such great beer. This is delicious.
I'm glad you so much.
I'm almost done.
Absolutely.
I'll sleep well tonight if my lips stop tingling.
You got it. Well, have a great rest of the week. Have a wonderful weekend, and we will talk to you soon. Take care, guys. Cheers.
Safe out there, folks.
You too.
They found him face down in his waffles, maple syrup dripping from his fake rug. Who did he see when he heard who was there? Now it seems that he shit out of luck. This little penny went to market. This little piggy stayed home. This little piggy's eating corned beef in the back of a Ford Pinto.